Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. We do have some breaking news. The LA Lakers are trading for Patrick Beverley from the Utah Jazz in exchange for Talen Horton-Tucker. Now, this is a huge move for the LA Lakers. Now, if we think back to all of the, LA rivalries that we've had, some of the most fierce and intense ones came when Patrick Beverley was a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. Now we see him suiting up for the Lakers. Now, Shams had broke this just a little bit ago. Woj was talking about it earlier in the night here, but this trade is gigantic. Now, Talen Horton Tucker has been the vocal point and the sounding point of a lot of different trades. That's been kind of regarded as he's going to be included in a big deal for a star. All of a sudden, that is now off the table as Talen Horton Tucker has been traded for Beverley. Now, if we look at the Utah Jazz, let's evaluate it from that side first. Talen Horton Tucker is a young player, a developmental guy, and a guy that's shown that he can be very, very effective when he gets minutes in the league. I think that it makes a lot of sense for them, considering where they're at right now, to go ahead and make this deal. Now, overall, we knew from the very beginning in that Rudy Gobert trade that Patrick Beverley was not going to be a member of the Utah Jazz for very long. I think that was pretty clear and obvious in their intentions that Patrick Beverley was surely a money matching piece of that Rudy Gobert trade. They were also looking, obviously, to acquire an asset that was flippable, which they could get a younger player that has more potential. And that's Talen Horton Tucker. Talen Horton Tucker has been widely regarded as a guy that if he sees more minutes, he's going to be very, very effective. He's going to continue to progress and help out a team long term. And I think that's exactly what the Utah Jazz are trying to do here. They're trying to improve for the long term. I think with the direction of this team, they're going to struggle this year. I think that's pretty obvious. There's going to be a lot of struggles with the Utah Jazz. Now, overall, they're trending in the right direction in terms of an overall rebuild. They're going to have a lot of picks from Minnesota. They have some other younger assets that they can utilize. But the Utah Jazz are clearly moving in a different kind of direction. Maybe not towards full blown contention, but maybe they look at it as a potential retool rather than a full blown rebuild, which I think is kind of interesting because not a lot of teams take the whole retool method and run with it. That's what maybe Utah's trying to do right now. They're trying to retool this roster around Donovan Mitchell and see what they can do. And I think it's pretty interesting that they go after a guy like Talen Horton Tucker, who hasn't seen a ton of minutes, but overall, I think it makes a lot of sense, considering how young he is and what the potential upside to bank on is. This is a guy that makes sense. I mean, he's only played 3 seasons in the league. Overall, he's only started in 19 games. That was his high in a season was 19 games. The previous two were 4 games started and 1 game started. So overall, he's played in 131 total games in his career. This is a guy last year that averaged 10. The previous year he averaged 9. So he's getting run, but I think that you can see him continue to trend that way where he's going to be going to be getting more minutes with the Utah Jazz. And as for the LA Lakers, they're looking for a little bit of tenacity getting Patrick Beverley, a guy that has really reinvented himself in the league. He's become a better and better 3-point shooter. He's been very, very consistent from downtown, which, he's not much of a facilitating guard. Playmaking is not the number one thing on his list in terms of an overall skill set. Obviously, that comes from his, tenacious defense, a guy that is worthy of being, an all NBA defender multiple times in his career. I know a lot of people don't like his antics, but the reality of the situation is Patrick Beverley is a good player. The guy can, spot up, shoot threes for you, play really competitive defense, is a vocal leader in the locker room. And we've seen his impact with the LA Clippers. It was pretty obvious, in my opinion. But overall, I like this trade for both sides. I think that, there's no picks involved. So it's just a 1-for-1. It looks like right now we haven't had any other details filter in on it. So it looks like that, this is the deal. But Patrick Beverley going to the Lakers definitely changes things, in my opinion. You get a guy that is going to be a phenomenal perimeter defender for you. He's pesky. He gets in opposing stars' heads. There's a lot of value in that. Sometimes those antics carry on and it hurts the team in a negative way. But overall, I think for the Lakers, this makes a lot of sense. Some fans are not going to like him just because of his time with the Clippers and how much of a pest he was for LeBron and everybody else that suited up in a Lakers uniform. And he loved talking smack about the Lakers. So this is really funny here. The whole, don't burn bridges. He has burned a lot of bridges in his career, and the Lakers are at the very top of it, at the very top. So Patrick Beverley going to the Lakers is going to be really, really funny for team chemistry, dynamic, interaction with the fans. There's so much to really, dive into here. But let's not forget how big of a piece he was for this Minnesota Timberwolves team last year, that was looking for a true vocal leader, a guy that can lead them to the postseason. And that's exactly what he did. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, leave a like on this video if you did enjoy the content. I can't believe it happened. And this is really a true statement I'm saying, but Patrick Beverley is a Laker.